Hi everyone, this is Tony Shea from digitalradiomarketing.com. In this SEO analysis session, we are going to take a look at TechValue's website. Now, before I start, I would like to provide a disclaimer. We did not have access to TechValue's Google Webmaster Tool or Google Analytics or whatever analytics package they are using. What we did was we used various SEO tools to analyze their website. So in a sense, we are looking at the website from outside, and we did not have any knowledge of inside knowledge, so to speak. So there may be some inaccuracy or lack of depth, but again, that's the nature of the way that this SEO analysis was carried out. So having said that, let's take a look at what TechValue does. So TechValue is a tech news and review site for smartphones and tablets. And what they're trying to do is try to provide information so that users can really get a really good value in a sense when they want to purchase a new tablet or a smartphone. Now, when we take a look at their website, they actually have two versions. One is in English, the other one is in Greek. And this is essentially where international SEO comes into play. And when we're typing in their root domain, actually, and as you can see, it automatically redirects to the English version with 301 redirect. So this is a good practice in a sense, whatever value that they got is pointing to the English version. Now, with the Greek version, that could be a little bit problem in a sense if you really want to target Greek, like geologically. One thing I can think of is when someone built a link to the root domain, that is all directed to the English version rather than the Greek version. So you actually lost a little bit of sort of local signal, so to speak. Unless, of course, they link it to this page specifically. If they just link it to the root domain, as we saw earlier, everything is redirected to the British version, the English version. So that's something to think about. If you really want to truly target Greek as a country, not just language target, then CCTO, the country code top level domain, is the best approach rather than using subfolder structure like you are using right now. But again, it really depends on the resource, depends on what you truly want to do. And since we did not talk to anybody from TechValue, we cannot really figure out why they did this. We can only speculate. But as far as language targeting goes, this is correct. I mean, this is the best practice. You want to have them in a separate folder, subfolder for English and Greek. But country targeting, the way it's structured may not be the perfect way. There are better ways to do it. And again, since we're doing language targeting, another way to send a signal to Google is to have this Greek version and British version or English version verified in Google Webmaster Tool. And you can tell Google what this section of the site is targeting for, which country this section of the site is targeting for. And you can say, okay, I want to only target for Greek, and then that will send additional local signal to Google, say anything on techvalue.net/EL is for Greek audience, and we want to target Greek, the geological as a country, not just Greek as a language in general. So that's something to think about when it comes to international SEO. Okay, so let's come back here and go through the typical basic SEO analysis that we do normally. So we send a crawl, Screaming Frog, and crawl the site. We found about 500 pages. Then when we use Google search operator, we found about 4,000 pages. So immediately this tells us something is not right, that we get a lot more pages on Google compared to Screaming Frog. And one obvious answer to that could be because of the site structure. They are not linked in a way that you know from the home you can go through all the pages. And it is possible because I'm speculating at this point, since we haven't, we'll take a look in a minute, but probably when we send the robots, the scroll to the root domain, it got redirected to the English version, and then it start crawling all the English version. Now from this English version, unless you click on this, it doesn't seem to go to the other side. And in fact, we can do a quick analysis here to see, say, JavaScript. And I doubt that's a JavaScript. It should still be there. Okay, that's good. And then we can do image, disable image. Okay. And unfortunately, I don't see it anymore, even though it seems like I might be able to click on it. So that's something to think about. You might want to add an alt tag if that's so disable. Let's get rid of the CSS. Okay, as you can see here, that's a problem right there. I don't see a text link for each version of the language version. So that means a spider, when it goes to this page, this is an English page, as you can see here, it cannot reach to the other version, the Greek page. And Google, being Google, it's pretty clever. So it try to get to your entire site from various ways. So it crawls other sites that have backlink to your site, and that is probably the reason why Google managed to find more pages compared to the Screaming Frog software that we use, because like I just explained, when we send the crawl in, it's not getting the other side, the Greek site pages. And we can actually take a look to see if indeed that is the case by pasting it, because there could be something else. So let's actually get rid of this. Okay. And we can kind of quickly just take a look. Okay, so, and again, interesting enough, Google does crawl the root domain, but it displays Greek, whereas English obviously is English. Okay, about us. So nothing really stands out by just looking at this. But again, you can see a lot of Greek pages. It's getting indexed by Google, whereas here, okay, so we did find some Greek pages. So obviously that might not be the main issue. But then again, we only found about 500 pages. So something is not right. So we need to dig a little bit deeper. From this basic, quick SEO analysis, we can't really find out what it is at this point. But by spending more time, we can get to the bottom of this by looking at if we can get access to Google Webmaster Tool. We can actually get the data, look at things from different angles, and really figure out why Google manages to find out to crawl more pages than the software that we use. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next topic, which is, so there are only 3 pages with more than 100 links. And so the idea is to not have too many links on each page, is that the link values will get diluted. So say if you want to do create internal links from one page to the other, a lot of time when you have too many links per page, then each link value is getting diluted. So what we recommend is ideally it should have less than 100 links. And to give a little bit more detail, actually, there's a historical reason. Back then, Google didn't have the ability to crawl more than 100 links. So that kind of became the norm for the SEO community, that it's not a good practice to have more than 100 links. But now Google has the ability to do that. But even that, if you think about the link equally that you're passing from one page to the other, you have more than 100 links, you're really diluting it. So that's why still we recommend not having more than 100 links per page. Okay, so moving on, 301 redirect, yes, we already pointed that out. And there isn't really something that stands out. Okay, and it does use canonical tag, which is a good news. And in fact, we can just quickly take a look at the page source. Canonical. Okay, and it's pointing, yep, so that's good. So it seems like the website owner is pretty SEO savvy, or they already have a SEO team working with them. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, and how many times? 301 redirects, 10 times. That's fine. That just shows you're redirecting other pages that no longer exist. Seems to get redirected to other location. Not too many 404, that's good. Has a robots.txt, that's good. Now moving on to key SEO elements. We identify 85 duplicate titles, and obviously you can see here there's an English version and there is the Greek version, and this is the reason why there's duplicate content, because they're probably exactly the same thing. They got probably translated into Greek, but everything else is left the same. So ideally, this title tag should get translated into local language. If there's a resource, obviously. If there's not, then, well, you can add more text to it. That may be another way to sort of differentiate the title. One good thing about this is that Google does not recognize translated version as duplicate content. So you have English content, you have Greek content, and Google sees these two as completely separate. So they will not penalize you for that. But the fact that you have duplicate title, this kind of takes away some of that credit, so to speak. Then again, there's so many other pages that have the same title tag, which ideally should be fixed. And another thing I've noticed when I'm taking a look at this, I see a lot of pages that the tag pages that are getting indexed probably, and ideally this should have no index tag on it, because those pages a lot of time they create duplicate content because you have all these tags, and you probably have if you have a category as well, then you could get duplicate content about Zopo, and that is not ideal. And in fact, I have written a post about whether it's a good idea to let category pages being indexed. And in fact, someone has already done some study on it, and the tags pages should ideally be no indexed, because they could create duplicate content. So you want to show it to the users, but not showing it to the engine, and ask engine not to index it. And of course, if you have archives, if it's a blog, then you want to no index that, because that's essentially duplicate content again as well. So that's something to think about. And moving on to next, identify 59 titles over 65 characters. So now actually we recommend, if you can make it somewhere close to 55, that's better. We're using 65 since it's kind of extreme to have more than 65 characters, and that's why we're using 65. And that used to be the best practice recommendation, but now Google, they have changed the way they display titles, so now actually 55 is the best. But again, we're using 65 since if you have more than 65, then that for sure is a problem. And on this website, TechValue, obviously we found 59 titles that are over 65 characters, so this should be shortened. And then duplicate meta description. Ideally, this should be unique as well, and a lot of tags pages. So these pages you can just really add no index to them so that they don't create duplicate content, because they don't really add additional value in terms of ranking, and from Google's eye they just look at this and they think it's a duplicate content. Okay, so again, here's a bit of summary here. 85 page with the title, 59 with title, over 65 characters, duplicate meta. And another thing that stood out was H2 tag. H2 tag is also a ranking factor. Not as strong as H1, but it's sort of, if you could, nice to have, because it will add additional ranking value, so to speak. So 380 pages are missing. Now moving on to other SEO consideration. When it comes to speed, it seems it's loading pretty fast, 2 seconds. So that's pretty good. And that's also being confirmed by Google speed test for desktop and mobile, 87 and 74 points respectively. So that's good news. It's pretty well optimized in terms of speed. The site is responsive, which is good. So it's ready for mobile, and we can test that here using my favorite tool, Web Developer. And as you can see, yeah, everything is resized and it looks very nice and clean on the mobile platform, which is good. Now coming back, any PDF files, so we did not find any PDF files. And schema code, so this is again very good schema code. They already consider adding schema code, and they implement item scope. Let's take a look. So they have blog post schema code. So they identify as blog. And they also have other types. Let's see what they have. Blog post. So already they're blog posting, title. Okay. One suggestion would be they could add review schema code, since some of this, I mean, they mention in their description they are doing review. So it would be nice they could add review related schema code. And you can always go to schema.org to get more information about that. Okay, so overall it's pretty okay in terms of SEO. They've done some pretty nice basic SEO implementation, and like I mentioned in the video, it's an international site, so there's some international SEO aspects that should be taken care of, and also they have some pages with duplicate title and duplicate description, but otherwise they are doing pretty good job. And so overall it's not too bad. So that's it for this video, and if you are interested in more in-depth SEO analysis, we now provide that service. We are doing $99 per month unlimited SEO service, so please feel free to visit digitalratingmarketing.com for more information. And this, if you are listening as a podcast, you can always check out all the notes at digitalratingmarketing.com session number 9. So that's it for this time. I'll see you next time.